Okay, so it says that the recording has started. So now is when I start laughing, right? Okay. Hi, friends. Stephanie here, and I'm back with more movie chatter and one friend that I actually have, my dear friend John from Plaid X2, who is willing to call himself my friend in public, and that's a rare find these days. So, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great and absolutely very proud to say I'm your friend.
We're flag waving friends.
Absolutely.
Team John. If you guys don't know John, like, what are you doing with your life? You've got to know John. If you're here, you have to know John. He's awesome. He does great content. You have turned me on to so many, I want to say, amazing classics. You're like
Mhm.
my go to guy for the classics. And I can't say thank you enough because it's probably waters that I wouldn't have gotten to this quickly had it not been for your passion for it and sharing it with us. So, it's just great content. He has great content, and, I am gonna let John tell you where you can find him. So go ahead, John. Tell us where
Awesome.
you are.
Well, thanks for having me, Stephanie. This is I always look forward to our conversations every single time. And even though we talk all the time, but these are a lot of fun. I enjoy these. Um, you can find me at PlatX2 on YouTube and same thing on Instagram as well. You can find me there. And I don't know what it is on Letterboxd, but I'm on there too. Um, yeah. So, but that is linked. If you go to one of recent YouTube videos, you'll find me there as well. But yeah, you have turned me on to tons of movies. I, in fact, thought of you 2 days ago because I sat down and watched The Invisible Man, the newest Invisible Man. That's not new. It's like 5 years old or something.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I thought it was great. Yeah.
I thought it was kinda not what I expected it to be, but I thought it was an interesting take.
Yeah.
Creative.
I
It's okay.
love the original, and the original is, I mean, yeah, it's borderline funny.
Yeah.
But this one was good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like Elizabeth Moss, so I'll watch anything she's in.
Yeah, it was good. Had
Yeah,
some good
she's
twists, some moments I didn't see coming. It was good.
there were some moments I didn't see coming either, but yeah, I that's one that I liked. I think got a little bit of hate, but I think anytime you have a remake, you have to expect the unexpected. Like you have to manage yourself when you go into any kind of remake for anything, especially a classic,
For sure.
you
Absolutely.
know? But
Well, and you
um
have completely changed my Christmas. Every year, I'm a classic Christmas guy, but for the last 2 years, this never would have happened before our friendship. I watch Krampus as a part of my Christmas movie watching now, and that's
there you
100%
go.
your influence.
I
So,
feel like my work is done with that particular holiday when I
right,
get a Krampus bell on your family tree.
Krampus. I do that. Yeah, I'm,
Yeah.
I'm game for that.
Yeah, I will have to locate one because I have one myself, and I will have to locate one for the John family Christmas tree.
Yeah. So yeah,
And yeah, and I will feel like, okay, my work here is done for Christmas, and now I have some options for Thanksgiving, which is, you know, anytime I can bring horror into your life, it's a highlight.
hey, absolutely.
But I'm going to link all of John's information down in the description box. All kidding aside, please go follow him. You will not be disappointed. And I think you'll really enjoy him. Hopefully, you'll enjoy him as much as I do, but you can't have him because he's mine. So
Yeah.
enjoy him, but from afar, please. Thank
There
you.
you go.
And I have to get by, certain people to get to you. So
There you go.
I have to get
Yeah.
by the boss. So, you know. So today, John and I thought that like we said, John said, we chat a lot and we're both physical media collectors. We collect, I would say, John, we collect in very different ways,
Mhm.
but I think that it the way we collect kind of works for this particular video because we can take two kind of options that people really have in our new space of collecting, which feels a little chaotic going into the end of quarter two of 2024. And maybe we can shed some light on how we personally are navigating this new situation. Like, and when I say the new situation, and John, feel free to jump in anytime. Um, the beginning of this year, there were big changes with Best Buy pulling out and then Target and then Walmart saying they were going to pick up all the things that Best Buy dropped, like steel books and whatnot. There's not a lot of consistency. Like, you can't just go into every Walmart and assume that you're going to find physical media. Now, I don't know what the situation is by you, John, with the stores, but I don't have any stores, no Barnes and Noble that carry physical media. I mean, I have beautiful Barnes and Noble, but they don't have movies. They have toys and games and pop culture things. My Walmarts don't carry anything. Target's been gone for a while, and the last person standing was Best Buy, and that was shaky at best. But now I don't know if you have access to things close by you, or if it's just that if you get the option to travel for whatever reason, you just pop in and see if you can find something.
Yeah, I don't have Barnes and Noble anywhere near me. And I do have Targets and Walmarts, they carry stuff, but they're super different between them. Like Walmarts, I have three that are not too far from me, and
Right.
they're all very different. So one of them would have like the steel books that everyone's raving over. The other two don't. One of them had the $5 steel books that the other two didn't. So none of them are even close to being the same. And
Right.
Target, like most people are experiencing, just trimmed way down to I have
Yeah.
almost nothing there now.
Yeah. So there's no consistency.
Yeah.
And, a lot of this, what we're talking about, a lot of it pertains to what I would say we call studio releases. Like we just had the big Ocean's 13 trilogy that came out recently. And we had before that, we had the James Cameron trilogy, True Lies, The Abyss, and Aliens. I get notifications from the studios, mailing lists. Where am I supposed to tell people to get these things?
Yeah.
Because there is no one-stop shopping anymore. And even if you go to a place like Amazon, they oversell their pre-sales, and you could very likely get an email on the release day that says, "Mm, sorry, sold out. You're going to have to wait 3 weeks or a month." And it may or may not get there earlier. We don't know. So I have some solutions of my own for that particular situation. And then we have you mentioned the steel books. I for the most part am kind of consider now I'm a big steelbook person. I always have been for some reason. And I told myself a few years ago, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. Then Lionsgate came out with what Lionsgate with the cool slip covers and all that sucked me right back in. But now I'm to the point where I'm so frustrated by the lack of ability to get my hands on a steelbook that arrives to me. First of all, that I can even pre-order because they're sold out the day they're announced. And they end up being, the scalper on eBay has 20 copies, but I can't order one.
Right.
So I don't know how this happens, but it does. So the scalping's out of control. And then on top of that, I don't know what kind of condition it's going to get to me in. So it's not like I can walk it back to Walmart. My Walmart doesn't carry physical media. So I don't know what Walmart mails it to me.
Right.
But 9 out of 10 come damaged. Same thing with Groove. I used to order from Groove. They now use the paper bag method. They're not even using like the shrink wrap. They just threw all my Ocean's 13, Ocean 11, 12, and 13 steelbooks in a bag where they clunked around and they crushed each other and they were dented and crushed and the whole deal. And, they will not send you out a replacement until they have your copies sent back to them. So
Wow.
everything's kind of up in the air and it's a mess. And I will tell you how I'm dealing with this changed environment that we find ourselves in. And then John is going to come at it from another angle. So, other than lack of, I'd say, consistency, what issues have you been running into with collecting other than like the consistency in the store in store availability?
Yeah, it feels like in the 4 years, like, since the beginning of the pandemic,
Mhm.
collecting movies is just like so if you go ratchet back to just like a couple months before the pandemic, everything is normal, like what we've experienced for years. Pandemic happens, we can't go anywhere, we can only do mail. And then when we start coming out of that, like Black Friday, a lot of people don't do that anymore. That's all gone, or they're doing it on different days. And then you start seeing companies close up and change. So over that time, you had Twilight Time wrap up. Who else? There's a couple other ones that closed up shop. So it's just it's like it's almost a completely different world in the span of 4 years since
Yeah.
the pandemic began. So yeah, definitely seeing that. Even with I do shop. My probably biggest online shopping is Amazon. and I find even they're incredibly inconsistent.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll buy one movie and it's like a standard Blu-ray, and it comes in a box with bubble wrap and stuff in it. Other times I'll order Criterion films, 3 or 4 of them, and it comes in a paper mailer, and all of the cases are crushed.
Yeah.
And I've got to go to drop them off at Kohl's and then wait, and they'll send me up. And what I do now is I've had so many. I think I ordered. Oh, what was that movie? Tenet. I ordered Tenet. I got a
Okay.
destroyed copy. I got another.
Mhm.
I requested another one. The next one came in and it was tampered, so the digital code was pulled out of it.
Yep.
So I ordered another one, and what I ended up doing is I took all 3 copies. I laid all 3 copies across my counter. Some had damaged discs, some had damaged cases. I literally Frankenstein all of the
Made one
best
good one.
parts, made
Yep.
one good one, sent them back to junk. And since one had a slip, the other 2 didn't have a slip. And so I just Frankenstein one. And so, yeah, it's really inconsistent customer service for companies. You're not getting consistency with shipping, quality control. So, yeah. And even with Criterion, like I have shipped back 50% of the purchases I've made in the last year, 50% I've had to get new discs on.
Yeah.
So it is a really weird time for collecting.
Yeah. Quality control A to Z just is not there.
Yeah.
We're just fortunate that certain companies like Criterion have excellent customer service.
Amazing
And
service.
if you go through the steps of, send us the picture, sign the disc, put the date on the disc, it's very simple process. They get things right out to you.
Yeah.
Luckily.
Thankfully.
But
And they're
yep,
great.
right. They are great. But it's just happening too often.
Yeah.
Like you're excited to get the movie, you want to pop it in, you want to watch it, and the disc is scratched.
Yeah.
Or you order something and on Amazon, if you look, a lot of times it'll say new. Sometimes there's a used option on the bottom.
Yeah.
So you can choose new or used. I always pick new. I'm not going to buy a used
Yep.
disc that I can't see
Yeah.
from a seller that I don't know. If it were eBay and it was someone I had used before and had good experiences, totally different story. I would trust their judgment, but I would ask for disc pictures. But Amazon, I have had things show up that they say it's brand new, comes in, the disc is this disc is a mess. It looks like someone's Cheeto fingers were all over it. They use it as a hockey puck. The case is broken. Then I've had other ones. Then I sent for a replacement and they sent it. It wasn't even wrapped. Like it
Wow.
wasn't even in the cellophane. Wasn't even shrink wrapped anymore. So it wasn't factory sealed. There's no seal on the top. Like it was totally a used disc. And it's frustrating because like I've had things get lost in the mail. I told you before we started, just this week, I have had 4 different packages and they weren't all movies. There were like, I ordered a bottle of Advil or something. It's somewhere in Ohio right now. It
Yeah.
was a block from my house 2 days ago and now it's in Ohio and I need it and I can't get a replacement for it and I can't get a refund until a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So it's not always easy and you deal with these like automated chats. You don't get a live person anymore,
Right.
which is why I go with some of my online solutions that I have because I want the option to know that there's some way of contacting a real person.
Yeah.
And that's important. I don't mind ordering everything through the mail. Problems are going to happen. I get that. I don't expect things to be smooth sailing. What I do expect is when there's a problem, there's a way to find a solution.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the puzzle that we're missing because I think that we're focusing on a very small thing, a very niche thing, being physical media and movie collecting. There are people who order every single thing in their life online,
True.
from groceries, toiletries, pet supplies, mattresses, you name it. They're buying everything online. So I don't know if part of it is just that the system that we have in place for UPS or FedEx or United Postal United Postal Service, if they just can't handle the uptick in traffic because it's just chaos.
Yeah.
I rarely have a smooth sailing situation when it comes to especially things like Amazon. Now the other things that I'm going to talk about that are better, I 90% of the time no problem at all. But so those are I think those are my biggest issues that I'm coming up against. It's not necessarily finding things. I mean, there's physical media is not in trouble. People still like to do those panic physical media is dying.
Yeah.
You try and keep up with the new releases or just the re-releases. You
Yeah.
can't do it.
It's true.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
The re-releases are at a point where it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's nice to have it, but I mean, come on, do we really need the ninth copy of Friday the 13th part 1?
Yeah.
No, we have it. You just threw a slipcover on it. No, we don't need it.
Right.
So, I mean, we're living in a great time to be physical media collectors. It's just, I think what we're trying to do is figure out how do we get to the end point where we're staying on budget, getting the things that we want to enjoy, and getting them in the condition that we would pick for ourselves if we had the in-store experience,
Right.
and not get the slipcover that's torn up or ripped apart or non-existent or the dented steelbook or all the other things that can happen. So, now I know I call you the king of thrift, and I add the emoji crown now to every comment because I am consistently amazed and impressed at some of the finds that you have. And when I thought about doing this video to try to help people to find solutions, because we can't be the only ones having these issues,
Sure.
um, you were the person I thought of to help navigate the waters of maybe someone who wants to add thrifting into their, you know, collecting collecting style, or like you do the pallet sales and all the things that you do that you're going to share. And how do we get going with that, and what are some places that you could recommend that people look for or look to? I know one good one that we're gonna be linking in the description, but,
Absolutely.
other than, of course, we're gonna talk about that, but, like, what would you suggest for somebody, like, say, like myself, who has very little to no experience with thrifting or hunting to make a great collection?
Yeah, so I have a significant percentage of my collection is like, as you said, doing the thrifting thing, um, and part of that is just I love it. Like, it is so much fun for me because
Yeah,
I know if I go to Target, or at least in the days when Target sold stuff, I already know what releases they have out, and
right.
it's great. I know what they
Yep,
are, so if I'm looking for a particular film, then that's great. I think it's so much fun to thrift, and you have no clue what you're gonna find today, and it could be nothing, but it could be something amazing. So at a yard sale a couple of weeks ago, I found Sling Blade on Blu-ray, which goes for a bit online for $1, and, um, so I enjoy the hunt and going out there and finding stuff, and, for me, it's a cool way, it's a fun way to build my collection
oh,
because there's
yeah,
oftentimes movies that I didn't even think about, and then other times I'll find something that maybe I can give to a friend who I know a friend's been looking for, and so I've done that many times, or to take a title and flip it and then use that to invest in your collection.
right,
So if you're trying to stick to a solid budget, I try to stick to a good budget. Um, it helps you do that. It helps you build your collection, and you're not pulling from your groceries. You're not using a credit card. You're not, everything is fine. You're building a collection, you're getting exciting titles, and you're doing it pretty cheap. So, um, yeah, so I do love it. And there's, yeah, a bunch of options. I know everybody knows Goodwills. Some people don't have Goodwills or Salvation Armies in their town.
yeah, we don't.
Um, and if you do, I find even their prices are starting to go up.
Yep,
So some have horrible prices, but they're cool places to do it. Mom and pop thrift stores. There's actually a lot of, at least in my area, churches that have like thrift stores that help invest. And there's one in my area, like 20 minutes away from me, and it's actually pretty cool. So I love buying from them. I bought from them this week. Actually, I found the movie Spotlight on Blu-ray with slipcover for 50 cents. Um, and everything that thrift store gets in literally buys food for people in the community who are hungry, people who are financially struggling. So I actually feel really
oh,
good
nice,
thrifting
yeah,
from those guys because they're just investing in the community. So I would
yeah,
say, look, a lot of churches do it sometimes. Um, you mentioned pallet sales. So in my area, and it's happening more and more all over, like Walmart's, Targets, um, who else? Dollar Generals are just kind of purging their stock that didn't sell.
right,
And or like Amazon will sell off the stuff that gets returned sometimes.
Right.
And I've gotten sealed Criterion Blu-rays. I've gotten MCU stuff, 4Ks. So if you search palette sales in your area, it's not going to be predominantly physical media. But what I find is people who are selling palette stuff oftentimes are looking to sell the big ticket items. And so they
Right.
see a movie and they just think it's a stupid DVD and they're going to sell it for 25 cents. So I bought, I think from one palette sale, I bought 4 sealed Criterion Blu-rays for I think $4. It was $4 or $6, which is insane. Um, but pallet sales are a good one. If you look up library sales, so look up book sales in your area, you'll
Mhm.
find tons of library sales. You can get great stuff there. I've gotten Criterion box sets for 50 cents at those things.
Wow.
Those are great. And then the one that I'm focusing on, and then I also mentioned like pawn shops are,
Mhm.
everyone knows about those. The ones that I would recommend, honestly, in this season coming into summer is do yard sales. So if you search online, you can find out who in your area is doing a yard sale. And that's good. I use that so every Friday night I do the same thing. And my wife makes fun of me because it's super nerdy. On Friday night when I'm going to bed, I search, I see who's has sales, what ones look kind of interesting. And then I also do Facebook Marketplace. I'll mention that in a second. And then I map them out as to whose sale starts at what time and where they are in relation to me. And so I can kind of drive there and make a bit of a
That's great.
path. And so yard sales. But the tip that I would give you coming into the season is Facebook Marketplace.
Right.
If you search yard sales in your area, everyone is promoting their yard sale, and oftentimes they're going to throw up pictures. I
Right.
will search through the pictures. I zoom in. I found last summer. I found a sealed, brand new, that Karate Kid 4K trilogy in the box set.
Yes.
I found
Yes.
that for $2, and I
Wow.
just zoomed into all the pictures that they had. I saw it.
Yeah.
I messaged them. I was like, "Hey, by any chance, is that the Karate Kid movie you're selling?" And they wrote back like, "Yeah, it's Karate Kid." And I said,
Yeah.
"How much you selling that movie for?" And they're like, $2. And so I said, "What time do you open tomorrow?" They told me the time, and I was there like 20 minutes early and beelined it for that thing.
Wow.
Um, so check your Facebook Marketplace, and then what I will do too is if there's no pictures, I'll send a note to the seller and just say, "Hey, by any chance, do you have movies and music or for sale at your sale?" And if they say no, I know I'm not going to waste my time driving to that place, and I take it off my list of places to check out.
Right.
And if they say yes, I'll say, "Great. Do you have many? Do you have a lot for sale?" And I'll ask a few questions. And again, I just find tons of stuff. Last weekend, I found some great stuff. This weekend, I found some stuff. And then Facebook Marketplace, I'll also say when you're traveling, every time I travel to a new town or
Right.
city, is I'll hop on Facebook Marketplace and I've found crazy stuff
Wow.
doing it. So I can't recommend Facebook Marketplace enough. Zoom in on the pictures. When you travel, check out what's in that area that you're in. And it's been an amazing resource for me. And I've found everything from Criterion to 4Ks to Blu-rays to everything.
Well, I've finally gotten to the point on, Facebook Marketplace where I'm not just finding, cars and lawnmowers that are on fire. I send you those pictures, I'm like, "John, look what I found my next car, and it's a car on fire for $100." And I'm like, "Really? Really? Alright.
But the only
Alright, I see
negative
you."
of searching when you're traveling is
Yeah.
now in my feed, I get everything. So there's sometimes actually I think of you because I go on and there's one person selling all these Criterions and it'll be like in New Jersey. I'm like, well, I'm nowhere near New Jersey.
Well, tell me,
Um,
and I'll go get them for you. If it's close to
so
me, I'll go get them
there
for
you
you.
go. So it is kind of funny now. So I do get them from all different places in my feed. So you do have to like use all the filters to
Like the
make sure
filter,
it's,
right.
yeah. And you can create a zone. It's kind of cool on Facebook Marketplace. Like, do I want to be in 20 miles of my house, 40 miles from my house, and everything will
Right.
appear in the zone. So it's just an amazing resource. And it'll help you save time if you want to thrift and you don't want to waste a ton of time just driving around aimlessly. Yeah, it's great.
And I mean, when we say physical media, I mean, we are, you know, we talk about movies most of the time, but we also both collect music, vinyl,
Yeah.
CDs, books. So we're talking about everything. As you say, movies, music, and books.
I got
So,
a Facebook Marketplace. People are just
yeah,
dumping stuff. I
yeah.
got 2 summers ago the entire discography of the Beatles on CD for free.
Oh, it was CD. Okay, I don't
It was
feel as
CD,
bad.
not vinyl. No, 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 no.
Not 1 point vinyl
Not 1 point
signed.
vinyl. Yeah. No, no, no. It was CD. Everything was on CD with the exception of one album, which I'll find at a thrift store. But the entire discography, they were just dumping it. Um, yeah. So you find people just getting rid of stuff too. And I'll just
Yeah, 'cause
glad I took it to Pam at the Video Game Movie Dome.
right.
A woman had, I think her mother had passed away. She had a
Yeah,
monster VHS collection. I filled my car, which is like a smaller SUV. I
right.
filled it from floor to ceiling, front to back, passenger seat with VHS. The entire
Wow.
thing was spilling VHS, and I just got to donate it to the Dome,
Yeah,
to Pam's store,
yeah,
and she didn't ask a dime for it. She didn't want anything for it. People just giving stuff away. So
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna when you were saying about the Beatles thing, I was like, "You know what? If he tells me that it is a first pressing vinyl, I'm gonna hit end recording right now and go
friendship
cry."
over.
No, go cry in the corner.
Yeah, no, no, no. I wouldn't say that.
Post-traumatic post-traumatic test disorder I have.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's true though because you didn't you actually even find your 4K player thrifting? Like it was brand new?
I found 2 4K players. I found one that's brand new that I currently use. I got that
Right.
$10. And then at a Savers, I found another one with remote everything for
Yeah.
another 10 or $12.
Yeah, and I know also, Big Lots I've seen. I know
Yes. Yeah.
Miranda's it's Movie Madness now. Miranda's Movie Madness,
Yeah.
right?
She
I
is an
think it is.
amazing channel and she finds
She
crazy stuff.
she finds crazy stuff too, and, like, crazy good stuff, and
Absolutely.
I saw her she did, I think I saw you comment on the video too, her Big Lots find.
Yep.
And I know that Big Lots is getting in a lot of the overflow, as we say, from like the Best Buy steelbooks that they obviously had to get rid of,
Right.
because they're now showing up at Big Lots.
Yeah.
So if you have a Big Lots near you, don't sleep on Big Lots because it seems I don't maybe if you can talk to somebody in the store, you can find out if they know when they get their deliveries in because apparently they clear out pretty quick.
Yeah. They do.
'Cause they looked like I mean, from what Miranda showed, it looked like everything was in pretty nice condition.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Like, it's not, like, hit or miss. It looked really like it didn't go through the ringer before it got there is what it
Right.
looked like to me. It looked nice
Yep.
and very reasonably priced.
Oh, and they do coupons all the time. So like this last weekend, it was spend $15, get $5 off.
Right.
So yeah, it's really amazing prices. So Miranda's channel, I learned about sales from her channel all the time.
Yeah.
And she found a Lord of the Rings T-shirt at her Big Lots as well. So I booked it to mine, and they didn't have one, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I know that you have a big one you wanna do a shout out for.
Oh, the Video Game Movie Dome.
Yeah, Pam.
Yeah. So I haven't been faithful in doing videos recently, but I told Pam, I said, it's you. So I'm supporting you 100%. So the day I got home, I recorded that video and put that one
Right.
up. So that's my most recent one. And Pam is amazing. The selection she has is enormous. She's found so many movies for me. It's ridiculous. Um, and yeah, great prices, amazing shipping. With you buy one movie or you buy 25 movies. I think it's $5 flat shipping. Um,
Great.
if you get the chance to go visit her, it's so much fun. She's just so cool and chill. And you talk movies, talk collecting. She is a huge collector herself.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, it's just the best place and a great. She has 7 locations now. So when I
Yep.
first started going, she had 1, and now it's built to 7. And yeah, no better person you could support than
And
Pam.
I'll definitely put all her information down in the description box, and I believe she has a YouTube channel too where she talks like,
Yeah,
promotes whatever's going on with her.
yeah,
So I'll put her, like, whatever ways you can follow her and find the Video Game Movie Dome because she's, she's in Pennsylvania, right?
yes, yeah.
And I think isn't there one in Jersey? Or is that
I don't know actually.
'cause the closest one to me, I think, is about because I mapped it out. I have to make a run there. I mapped it out. I think it was like an hour and 25 minutes from me. It's not
Okay,
bad.
no,
It's not bad.
yeah, I drive, I think, 2.5 hours each way, and it's totally
Right.
worth it. And again, like if you're into thrifting, it's in a flea market building. So there's a
Right.
bunch of other places, tons of music and other movies. And then there's a bunch of like Liberty Ministries thrift stores all over the place. So
Right.
there's tons of thrifting you can do all around. So it's worth it to go visit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know you can I've seen people And just besides seeing what you get, I've seen people that they're like, "Oh, she's got a bunch of things. She has my wish list."
Yeah.
And, they'll walk in and walk out with a pile of 10 things or whatever, and
Yeah.
she'll take your trades too,
Yep.
so you can get store credit and things
Yep.
like that. So, yeah, I think, she's got a good thing going there, and she seems like a really cool person. So
Absolutely. She calls it
definitely,
building a pile for you. So, like, she always has a pile she's building for me. Within
yeah.
24 hours of my last visit, she had a pile of 7 already
Oh
for me.
God,
Yeah.
a
So
pile of
she's
7.
amazing. Yeah.
And you said she finds a lot of hard to find things. Like you'll say, "Oh, I don't know if she's going to be able to find this," and then you'll get the call that she found it.
Absolutely. There's sometimes I messaged her once when all of the Lord of the Rings Hobbit 4Ks came out. I
Yep.
messaged her and I said, I know you're probably not going to see any of these because they're so hard to find. But if you ever found these, and I kid you not, within 24 hours, she said, I have one of each for you. And it was
Wow.
still sealed. Both of them were still sealed.
Wow.
And she sold them to me for an amazing price.
Yeah.
So she's awesome. And I don't know how she finds stuff, but she does all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen her in other people's videos where they're like run into her in at flea markets and sales and
Yeah,
random place. She knows she's another one who knows the thrill of the hunt, obviously.
absolutely. Yeah.
And like what is it? The bookstores, what's the bookstore that they all go to? Second Charles.
Yeah. I've never actually been to
Second
one
Trust.
myself.
Me either. Me either. There's like nothing around me except bars because I live by the beach and I don't drink. I mean, if I liked drinking, I'd be set here, but
Yeah.
there's like bars and really fattening food, so that's it. I mean, as far as like flea markets, and I have to drive,
Gotcha.
which I don't mind. I don't, but um the other thing that I was thinking as you were talking, and I think part of the nice thing that I see with you and how you work your collection is that the way you collect almost forces you to keep your collection moving. It
Yes.
keeps it very curated and fluid
Yeah.
because you'll know, okay, this is something that's staying because I know I want to rewatch it. This is something that I'm going to use to put towards something else that I know I want to check out.
Yes.
So I think it almost forces that curating that I try really hard to do, but I end up doing it all at one time in bulk, and then I'm exhausted and I have a pile on the floor that I don't know what to do with. And I also make mistakes. I just made a huge curating mistake that cost me probably hundreds of dollars.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I usually will check things if I think like cuz we know like certain things are
Yeah.
known to be out of print. I had the Maze Runner trilogy steelbooks sealed. We never watched them. I said, "Kelly, we have had these movies for years.
Oh,
Every
no.
time I asked her if she wanted to watch them, she would say no, or I'd be like, ugh, I'm not into that. I don't want to watch it. They're really nothing to look at. They're very plain. They're going for $300,
No.
consistently $300. And I just dumped them at the closest Goodwill. And
No.
the Goodwill has like one shelf. It's the only Goodwill by us. And I said to Kelly, "It's like, I almost want to go and see if they're still there." But somebody that knows what they're doing probably went in there and scooped those
Wow.
right up. I was like, "Why did I not check?" It never occurred to me that they would be worth that much because 'cause they're
Wow.
not movies that you hear people talk about a lot.
Never. Never.
Like, I don't know. I was like, "I'm never gonna watch these, so you know what? I'll donate it to the Goodwill and maybe they'll get a little media." I mean, I sent boxes to the Goodwill.
Wow.
Boxes and boxes to the Goodwill because they don't even have a media section. So now they have a little
Right.
media section, and I'm like, maybe it'll get people going because I know people are
True.
unloading, I think people are going back to collecting more now that they're seeing the
Yeah.
streaming issues
Yeah.
because that has its own complexities. And like we said earlier, that could be a whole nother video with the issues with the streaming and this has gone from here and censorship and all that goes along with that and the cost. But yeah, that was a huge, huge mistake, and I think I know I made it out of frustration because instead of doing what you do and curating my collection on the regular and focusing on the things that I'm taking out and making sure, is this something of value that I might wanna sell, or is it something that a friend wants that I would send to a friend? I just get frustrated and I'll say, "This whole row is going," because
Right.
I don't want it, and when you do it that way, you make mistakes.
Sure.
I think when you do it the way that you do it on a regular basis, I think it's more mindful. Because I think you're more involved in the process because you know what you want, you know what you can say, "Okay, I can get enough money for this to go and get maybe 2 things that I want to see
Mhm.
if they fit. They're a better fit for my collection."
Right.
And you're not doing it out of frustration, you're doing it because it's how you collect. And you understand the importance of curation, and then you practice it on the regular because you like you said, you have to,
Right.
because you're working with a certain amount of space, as we
Yep.
all are.
Yep.
And when you get to that space and you feel like, "Okay, maybe I'm at 90% capacity here," things have to change because you can't just
Right.
keep building shelves everywhere.
Right.
There are other people in the homes and, they don't wanna be walled in by our movies.
Right. Yes.
So when, whatever our space is that each of us individually as collectors, whatever we're working with, you have to be mindful of not ending up with just the piles and boxes on the floor.
Right.
Because that's what you're gonna end up with, and you're also gonna make mistakes, like
Yes.
giving away something that's worth hundreds, and I started looking up, I was raging, I'm like,
No.
"No!" That was a huge mistake,
Oh, no.
and if I wasn't so frustrated with wanting to get my space minimized,
Yeah.
and if I hadn't been trying to do everything all at once, if I had just been doing it all along, I wouldn't have made that kind of a mistake.
Right. Well, it's funny when you were doing a purge not long ago, you inspired me to kind of go back through my collection and am I sure I want these? So I ended up pulling out, I don't know, like 75 titles or something like that. And what I do when I do that to not get rid of something that I'm going to regret, because also the king of rebuys,
Me
is I
too.
rebuy and I'm so
Yep,
ashamed of myself when I do
rebuy guy.
it.
That's going
And
in the merch store.
oh yeah.
Rebuy guy.
I had a friend of mine when I lived in New York called me rebuy all the time because I did it with music. And at
Yep,
that time it was with CDs and I'd sell
yep,
stuff and then I got to get that back. I did it with
yep,
guitars. And so what I did when you kind of inspired me to go through the collection again, I put them all up on one shelf, like all
yep,
75 titles.
yep,
I left them there for probably 2 weeks and I kept coming back to them every other day and like literally just like finger going through the piles. And it's like, you know what? I think I want to watch that one again. Or
yep,
you know what? I think I'll go back to this title.
yep,
And so I ended up pulling out probably 10 titles that I ended up putting back into the collection that I would have ended up rebuying if I hadn't have kind of the word you use, mindfully kind of going through it all meticulously over time. And then when
yep,
I finally get rid of them, I would knew I'm okay with all this. I'm okay letting this all go
yeah.
because I've spent time going through it.
And it's not a trilogy worth $300.
Yeah, I know I've gotten rid of stuff though that is value in the past, and
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
you do kick yourself.
yeah, yeah. And you know what it is? I've said to you, I think there's a difference, especially, if you're gonna flip things, there's a difference between a reseller and a scalper.
Yeah,
And I wanna make that clear. I don't have a problem with anyone making a couple bucks, making their money back and then making a few dollars to go and invest in maybe a new title that they want. I think that's fair. That's
yeah,
that's the art of the deal. That's people make money.
yeah,
But I have a problem with people buying something brand new for $35 and selling it for 100 when it's not worth 100.
right, yeah,
It never will be.
yeah,
It's a movie. It's not worth $100. We
yep,
can live without it. But there are people that are diehard collectors that will pay those prices, and it's obvious that they'll pay the prices because otherwise it wouldn't be going on.
yeah,
And I think that one of the things that, the scalping has really seen a huge uptick since there is not one clear space for us to consistently go.
oh, yeah, for sure,
And that is also well stocked on the regular.
yeah,
Sometimes you can go in and, I've seen people do the videos. Sometimes they go in there like this was fully stocked 2 weeks ago and now there's nothing.
yeah,
It's just like picked over and there's nothing. And they're supposed to be the ones that picked up the slack for what we don't have.
yeah,
So I think it's very hard and it's hard to figure out where to go to not end up in a situation where you're stuck deciding, am I going to be stuck with a scalper? Am I just going to go without? And the real answer is just go without.
yeah. I agree.
Just go without. There's nothing you can't live without, and there's reprints and re-releases, and it's just a movie, really,
Yeah,
when it comes down to it. And if it was your favorite movie, you'd have it already.
that's true.
No, really. I mean, you
Yeah,
might not have that edition,
true.
but really, what we're talking about at that point is packaging.
Yes.
And packaging, nice packaging is great, but really what we're here for is the content.
Yeah.
And I know that it's become more and more and more and more about packaging because when I started collecting, the DVDs had the nice sets, but Blu-ray was just your little blue
Yeah.
Amaray case. That was all you got. You didn't
Yeah.
get collector sets, none of that. So it really was just about the movie and the nicest picture quality possible.
Yeah.
So somewhere along the way, they figured out that we're also suckers for things that are shiny and, that look good on a shelf. And you know
It's
what? There's
true.
nothing wrong with that. I'm guilty as charged, but I also don't want to be taken advantage of. And
Right.
I feel like we're in a situation where things are so up in the air that it's very easy to be taken advantage of,
Mhm.
because you see it and you want it, or maybe you'll see somebody get something new and you don't realize that, you know what, this person that just basically sold you on these brand new releases, maybe they had them sent to them.
Sure.
Like, and people forget that. And like they see people getting these beautiful editions from, Umbrella Entertainment, which has beautiful box sets. Well, they're getting them sent to them because I can tell you just to import one of those is ridiculous.
Right.
The shipping alone, you're talking Australia to the United States. Forget the set of the forget the cost of the set, which is probably 70 to $100. Then you put the shipping on top of it.
Yeah.
They're not going out and buying those.
Sure.
So you shouldn't either.
Yes.
Unless it's something that you're really in love with and it's something special or a special item and then you save for it and then that's your budget for the month.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own budget and should do their own thing, but just keep that in mind that a lot of these things that basically you're being passively sold, I don't think they went out and, you know, made a little cart from Australia and bought all those. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
Sure.
if you've earned free copies, that's cool, but, just when you as a consumer make up your mind, just keep that in mind that it's going to add up quickly.
Yeah.
And you want to stick to your budget and not stress yourself out because nothing is more stressful than debt
Absolutely.
and just keep it under wraps. But,
Yeah.
I
And
don't know. Is there,
I
go
no, I
ahead.
agree with you. I think like it's really important to be careful,
Yeah,
because before you knew that that thing existed, your life was fine. Like
exactly.
everything was fine.
Yep.
And we all know as collectors, the minute you see, I did it the other day. I think I talked to you just before we started this video. I
Yeah.
saw someone do an unboxing video, and I was like, I have to have that. It
Yep.
came out like 4 years ago. My
Yep.
life has been fine for 4 years, and now I'm like, I have to have that. I'm missing
Yep.
something in my life. I'm not missing anything. And so I think just a reminder to ourselves of like, I actually don't need it. I know I feel like I need it, but I actually don't need that. And everything is
Yeah.
fine. And my life was fine when I didn't have it. And so just being careful of like, if I'm watching tons of those kinds of videos, I just get like overwhelmed with, oh, I got to pick up this, I got to pick up this, I got to pick up this. And I don't. And so I think kind of what you said too, like pick and choose. Like maybe it's like a movie that really means a lot to you.
Yeah.
Splurge, go for it, save up for
Yeah.
it.
Get that special
Absolutely.
edition.
But
Yeah.
I don't have to have it all. And in fact, that need or that overwhelming feeling to have it all, for me, kind of ruins collecting because then it becomes this like chore. It becomes a thing that actually causes me anxiety.
Yeah.
And it's not fun anymore. And so I try to be really careful with that and try to stick to budget and also just know that if I have none of these things, my life is totally fine still. Everything's all good,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Even if your car isn't filled to the brim with movies and you're traveling all over the place.
Yeah, I love collecting. I
Yeah.
absolutely I've collected my whole life, comics and music and everything. But if you took them all away today, everything's fine. Everything's
Yeah.
okay, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I have a collector mentality and I would dare say a bit of an addictive personality.
Sure.
I mean, just look, it's not the average person who tattoos most of their body. Really, it's an
Yeah.
addiction.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm not shooting drugs or I'm not hurting anyone, but, you know, my tattoo artist even said to me, he's like, "You've been doing this since before it was cool." He's like I was doing this back in the 90s when women especially were not.
Right.
And he's like, "You're like old school. You've been doing it forever." So I've always had that collector mentality. When I was a kid, it was 8 tracks and cassettes and vinyl and things like that. So it makes sense that it would just parlay into movies, and I love
Right.
movies. The problem is that the climate that we're living in today, the death of physical media, that is not happening. There is so much available,
Yeah, there
so
is.
many editions, and then what they do is they tack on this limited edition, limited run, 1,500 copies only. Well, you know what happens after they do the 1,500 copies of that beautiful box set? They just release a standard edition, and you still
Yeah.
get the movie, you still get all the extras, and maybe you save yourself 40 or $50 and a lot of stress. It's not like you're gonna
Yeah.
miss the movie. It's just that if you want that special limited edition because it's something that you actually love,
Yeah.
love, love, um, then go for it. But, and like I said, everybody has to budget themselves. Finances are a personal matter, and some
Yeah.
people have more than others, and that's fine. Some people have more people depending on them than others. It depends on your situation, but
Yeah.
don't let collecting become a stress
Yeah.
because it can very quickly do that.
That's one of the things I appreciate about your haul videos is when you do mention those titles that have this edition, but you can also get the movie without all of the bells and whistles at a much affordable price. And I think
Yeah,
that's really helpful because sometimes when you do see a movie, you're like, I would love to have that. I can't do that price point. And I love it in your haul videos that you always remind people that there's other options for this too, and you get the same
yeah,
thing. And that's really good and helpful, I think, because sometimes I don't think we
yeah,
know that.
yeah. Or we just forget, like
Yes.
we see it and, and also, I tend to forget because I like to tell people, do your homework,
Mhm.
because when we're doing a haul video, we're showing you things that we picked up because we think that either we already know we love them or we think we're going to love them.
Yeah.
We might watch it and find out, you know what? I don't love it as much as I thought I did. This movie from 1998 that just got a Blu-ray release.
Mhm.
Maybe it didn't hold up well. Maybe it didn't age well. But I always, always, always tell people, do your homework and see if this feels right for you.
Yeah.
Look up things about the movie, research it, know what you're buying before you buy it. Because just because I say it's good doesn't mean it's good for you.
Sure.
And I would hate to feel like people were spending money that they could probably spend on something they loved and get something that they don't like because they just took my word for it, because I don't know who I'm talking to.
Sure.
Like, if you and I were having a conversation, I would say, "You know what, John? I think I messaged you. I said that movie's not for you."
Yes.
I don't think, as
Yeah.
your friend and knowing you as much as I know you, maybe it is for you, but in my opinion, it wouldn't be something I'd recommend to you as a
Right.
friend for various reasons. But when we're talking to a camera, we don't know who's on the other side.
True.
We don't know what their triggers are. We don't know. And I do talk about things, like horror. A lot of that can be triggering.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful and you have to be mindful when you watch these videos that if the person isn't telling you, hey, do your own research. I'm telling you, John's telling you, do your own research.
Mhm.
Ask questions, talk to people, talk to other people. If it's a horror thing and you're not a horror person, talk to a friend who's a horror person.
Yep.
Say, hey, will I be cool with this? Like before you go out and spend your money.
Definitely.
So, I mean,
Definitely.
just buyer beware, because even though we don't mean to be selling, in a way we are kind of passive selling,
Right. True.
you know?
Yeah.
It's not meant in a harmful way, but like you said, if you watch enough of those haul videos, you're gonna come away with a big list and a big, like, I wanna shop moment, I think
It's
anyway.
true. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Okay, so here we are. Now, so we've covered a lot with the thrifting and looking for, like, brick and mortar stores like Big Lots and flea markets and things like that, and Pam's store and whatnot. Is there anything else you wanna let people in on, sites they should visit, ways to thrift, anything you wanna add to the thrifting aspect of collecting and curating and keeping your collection active?
Yeah, I think, no, I think all of those places that I mentioned, especially the Facebook one, because with people's busy schedules, you are able to just asking questioning and doing searching, um, find out what's out there. the prices, the condition, and it's quick. So I don't have to go search for it. So I
Right.
would say the Facebook marketplace would probably be my best tip for thrifting, and do look up the yard sales on that one as well. And then you got your regular video game movie dome is the greatest. But it's just for me, it's a lot of fun. I would say, especially if you are new to collecting, it's a great way to cheap start your collection.
Right.
You can build. I just the other day I was on Facebook Marketplace and someone was giving away 4 enormous boxes of DVDs and Blu-rays because they just
Wow.
wanted it out of their house.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if I kept anything from my collection, but there was a bunch
Right.
of TV seasons in there of like obscure sci-fi shows that I
Right.
sold for $25 a piece. And
Right.
so it was all free to me. And I literally just had to drive around the corner, grab the 4 boxes on the curb. Um, and so I'm probably going to earn, a couple $100 from these boxes,
Right.
and I'll be able to invest it in. I'll hop on Amazon and pick up titles I want, or go to eBay and pick up titles I want.
Right.
So I would encourage you to try that. I find it a lot of fun if you enjoy hunting. It's
Yeah.
fun,
Yeah.
and you just never know what you're going to come across. I found Edward Scissorhands, didn't have it in the collection. Found it for $1 the other day at a yard sale.
That's
Watched it,
awesome.
and I was like, "This movie is so much fun. How did I not have this in my collection?"
Because you probably
Um,
thought it was horror. You probably did though, because it's Tim Burton and it's darker. It's a darker themed movie, so maybe you
it's
thought it was
true.
horror. Yeah, but it's a
It's
great
true.
movie.
Oh, it's so much fun. I picked content. So in that one day, it was $9. I just pulled up on Instagram. It was Edward Scissorhands, Contact, Sling Blade, Avatar, Enemy of the State, Italian Job, all on Blu-ray. 28 days later was on DVD with a slip. I did pick up a season of MacGyver, which
Wow.
it's just fun. I just want to have
Yeah.
that in the collection to occasionally watch
Yeah.
an episode of MacGyver. And then
Yeah.
there was a Lord of the Rings DVD box set. I had the 2 last films. I didn't have the extended first. So all of that was $9. And
Wow.
yeah, I'll keep most of it, but it's a ton of fun. So I
Yeah.
recommend that. It's fun to do. I find it really relaxing, and you can flip
Yeah.
stuff if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to, or just give it away to friends. I've found 2 copies of Dogma, and I gave
Yep.
those to friends.
Yep.
Um, so it's fun to be able to do that too. Find stuff for your friends that you know that they need for their collection.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there's a lot of, like, trading, and so I mean, we've done trades and swaps, and
Yeah,
there's trades that go on, and it's fun. It's fun to be part of that community.
absolutely, absolutely.
And, if you are doing that, I'm sure you always check, like, to make sure the discs are in good condition and, like, you have to take a look at things because sometimes they look nice on the outside and just like getting something from Amazon. It looks great on the outside and you
Yeah.
turn it over and the disc is a hockey puck, you know?
Yeah, and you're exactly right. And the thing is, if I go to Amazon, I can get that back. If I go grab something at a yard sale or thrift
You
store,
can't.
I can't get it back. Now, my
Yeah.
investment is very minimal in that loss, but you still do need to check it. And it is tough. I've bought stuff outside of a yard sale that I couldn't smell anything because you're outside and the wind's blowing, and I
Right.
get it home and it smells like an ashtray.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so that stinks sometimes when that happens, and you
Yeah.
feel weird grabbing people's merchandise and smelling it while you're at their yard sale.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But it's
so
true though, or like
yeah,
you can get like maybe it was in a place that was like musty or it smells like an
absolutely.
musty or moldy or, and
Yeah,
that's not good for the disc either because you can get disc rot and,
yeah.
but
So
I think
definitely check them for sure.
yeah, yeah. I remember was it you or was it me? Found a vinyl collection, but it had been sitting in the rain.
You did. It was on a front
Yes.
porch, wasn't
It was
it?
on a front porch, and I said, look at all these vinyl," and then
Yeah.
I realized that it was on an uncovered porch,
Ugh,
and it was
what a
just
waste.
yeah. Yeah, I remember that, and I was like, "Oof." But you have to like John said, you have to ask questions, ask for pictures,
Yeah.
I remember you had something where the people said that they did occasionally smoke in the house, but that the collection was kept away from it, and you're like, "Would you do it?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know."
Yeah.
But, you can't assume that everyone lives or keeps their collection as you like, collector status,
Yes.
like we're kinda, neurotic about keeping our collections nice and clean and sanitized and fresh
Uh-huh.
cases and, things like that. Not everybody takes as good care.
No.
Some people do. Some people are, it's a great surprise and you can get a nice discounted item that's in like new condition, and that's
Yeah.
great. I have
Yep.
no problem with used stuff as long as it's in good condition. I don't care.
Yep. Now there are some tricks. Like I found it was a Morrissey CD I found at a Goodwill, and when I
Mhm.
got it home, it did smell a little bit like it was in someone's basement. There was no mold, none of that kind of damage, but it just smelled.
Yeah, musty.
And yeah, so you can. I learned this one online. I took out all the CD artwork, the booklet, everything, and I took dryer sheets, really smelly,
Yes.
put it in between each sheet, wrapped it,
Yep,
put it in a Ziploc bag, put it away for I think it was like 7 to 10 days. Pull it
yep.
out, everything's totally fine now. It just absorbed all the odor in it, and it's like brand new out of a store. So,
It's
so
like
there's
when
some things you can do.
it's like when you drop your cell phone in the pool and you take it out and you put it in a bowl of rice.
Yeah, there's little tricks
It's
here and there.
little tricks of the
Yeah.
trade. And I know there's some nice, and I'll link them in below. I'll remember to link them below. I know there's some nice, really inexpensive cleaning cloths that you can get on Amazon that I saw a guy using them, and he cleaned these discs up, and I bought a bunch of them for cheap, and they're great. And you breathe on the disc to kind of like fog it up a little bit, and you just lightly in a circular motion clean the disc, and it really takes a lot of stuff off
Really.
without damaging the disc. But I'll send you the name of the cloths, but they're really inexpensive on Amazon and they last. Like he said, you don't have to replace them often.
Oh, really? Yeah, I
Yeah,
need some of those.
they're almost like the type of thing like this, like you get with your eyeglasses,
Oh, okay.
but they're more substantial than this.
Okay.
So they hold up for like these last forever with eyeglasses, but they're more substantial with that. So you can clean a lot of discs, but and you can always buy replacement cases on
Yes.
Amazon. And if you like John's run into this with Criterion, you can get replacement cases on the Criterion site.
Yeah.
However, they do sell out sometimes, as we found out,
Yeah.
but they usually will restock, especially if it's around a sale time.
Yeah.
Like if they're going to do a flash sale, but they get them back in. They don't stay out for long. But you can get replacement cases. You can get different colored case, all kinds of things. They have all kinds of things. But so
Yeah.
thank you for all your thrifting knowledge. One of these days I'll start venturing out past my comfort zone, and I have to go farther from my house, but I need to map out where I'm going.
Yeah.
I know there's a place about 40 minutes southwest of us that's looks to be Tim's gone there, and I can't remember the name of the place, but you can trade stuff in and it looks like a beautiful store. It's inside.
Oh, I
And
think I've seen
you know
that.
what I'm talking about? It's inside a
Yes.
flea market, but it
Yes.
looks like I mean, the stuff is in beautiful condition and it's all broken out by genre.
Yeah.
So, like, Kelly and I wanna go down there, but, one of the problems is I think a lot of the days they close by 3 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
So we gotta get up and get out. There's no time for this lounging and having 4 dogs and coffee till 11 o'clock in the morning. I gotta get moving, but,
That's funny.
um, so yeah, so I have to say that, with me, I break every rule that I insist that other people don't, and I'm a very bad collector for it, and I am trying to remedy the situation. But I can tell you that I find my anxiety levels higher now about collecting in general and my collection in general because my collection has reached a point where I am done. I don't want it to grow anymore. I want to take out what I don't want, and that's all I want to replace. Actually would like to downsize. I would actually like it to be half of what it is. Working on that. I have to get past my fear of missing out
Sure.
because I am one of those people that if the first 9 on the shelf have a slipcover, I don't want to miss the 10th slipcover. It's a piece of paper. Like I have to talk myself down.
Right.
I am also one who falls victim to the shiny packaging. And I can't do that because what it does is I have a budget. I'm a person who lives on a fixed income. I have to stick to my budget, and what happens is you can blow 90% of your budget on one thing, and it may not even be that thing that you love, it's just that thing that caught your eye in that video that was selling you that thing, and you can get that thing just as nice in a little Amaray case
Yeah.
for a third of what you're paying, but what I have found is ever since the pandemic and ever since we've switched to this more online style of collecting, I find that I am buying more things that I don't need.
Okay.
Whereas when I used to go out to stores and I would pick something up and I'd read about it, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm never gonna watch that."
Hmm.
And I'd put it down. Or I'd be like, "Oh, it's not really as nice in person as it looked in the promotional picture that I would be sent." And I think that's where I'm kinda missing out on the in-store experience because I think that that tempered my buying quite a bit. Like, my collection really exploded during the pandemic because, number 1, I was bored.
Sure.
We were lonely, we were sitting home by ourselves. I had some traumas. I lost 2 of my dogs during the pandemic, so there was 2 traumas. Not that that's an excuse, but it all kind of added up to it's very, very easy to just add something to a shopping cart.
Yeah.
So, I found for people like myself, I caution people. I'm like, "Do not just go out and buy everything I show you because you're gonna be miserable." And I do get some, review copies, but not many.
Right.
I also don't actively go after them because I don't think that review copies serve my community on my channel because there are other channels that are way bigger than me that are showing them they get them earlier than I would even. They'll get them a week before I would get them, and they've already shown them. How many times do you need to see the new release of, Aliens? Like,
Sure.
how many times do you need to see that or somebody say to you, "Oh, the picture looks really good," or, "Oh, the picture looks really crappy." No, you have to decide for yourself.
Sure.
So it doesn't really suit my community for me to be releasing that kind of content, and by picking things off my shelf or by picking my collection out by what I get, I control the content that I put out to my community. So I'm putting out content that I love because the things that I'm buying because I'm choosing them. However, you gotta pull back a little bit
Sure.
because it can easily get out of control, and
Yep.
you can hand away something that's worth $300 when I could have sold it and had 3 times my budget.
Yeah.
But what I'm finding is because we lost the stores where we would actually have to physically go out with the intention of getting XYZ, you're just shopping in these spaces, and my go-to sites are Orbit and Diabolic DVD, both fantastic. Couldn't recommend them more. You can find everything. You can find the obscure B horror schlocky title. You can get Vinegar Syndrome titles. You can get Warner Archives. You can get steelbooks. You can get UK steelbooks for cheaper than what you could get if you went on like Zavi US. And you can get them all shipped to you. Diabolic has a flat shipping of $6. So they will ship for $6, however many things they, say that you can get in an order. The only time it's different is if it's like a big set and they say has to be shipped alone.
Okay.
Um, with Orbit, you have to get to 3 items and then they'll do free media mail. It just takes a little longer to get there. But with Orbit, if you don't do the 3 items, you're looking at, I would say, a minimum of $7 shipping tacked on, and it goes all the way up to almost 13 if you want UPS
Okay.
for 1 item.
Wow.
So that's a lot. So you can look at a steelbook, they're like, "Oh, that looks like a really good price," and then by the time you add in all the costs, you're hovering around $60 for a steelbook.
Wow.
Not all the time, but they do get the Walmart things in and, like, they'll be, like, $24 and you can get them for a reasonable price. But you definitely spend more money, and
Gotcha.
you but the upside is you have a lot more options, and if you can get to the 3 that are now it can't be pre-orders. If it's pre-orders, they're gonna wait until even if something's in stock, they'll put it in a box for you, but they're not gonna ship it until everything in your order is in.
Okay.
So then you can get your 3 for free, media mail. Um, Also, if you have a problem, both of them have excellent customer service. They will get back to you within the hour and fix it. It's fixed, it's done. I've been like, my package is lost in the mail. They start an investigation with UPS or United Postal Service, whatever it is. They take care of it. If it can't be rectified, they send me out a new copy. So Customer service is there where it's lacking on Amazon. Like we said with Amazon, maybe you get a better price. You're not paying shipping if you're Prime, but you're not always guaranteed that it's gonna get there, and it's not always gonna be in the condition you hoped.
Yeah.
So, Diabolic and Orbit, I would say would be my go-to, like, if there's studio releases I want or pre-orders, that's where I go because Orbit especially, they limit like, Purple Rain is still up for pre-order. It's a pretty hot ticket. People want Purple Rain on 4K. They have a very strict policy. If it's an item that is in big demand or they anticipate it's gonna be in big demand, you get 1 copy. If you try to put 2 or 3 copies in your order, they cancel your whole order.
Hmm.
So they're not in it for the scalpers. They definitely keep a tight hand on that. So they also make sure they have enough inventory for people. They restock every week. Another nice feature that they have is that if there is a title that they know they're going to be getting back in stock, they have an option text me when it's in. The minute they open the box, they text everybody who's put in for that.
Wow.
So the minute they know, they say your item is the item you were interested in is now back in stock with a link to buy it if you still want it. So they have nice notification services. They're on top of everything. Their shipping is really fast. Excellent customer service, great selection. They also do sales. They have a whole sales section. So if you want to look for things that maybe have been on there a while, now they're discounting them to move inventory, you can look for that too. But it's a huge website and you just have to really go in with a mindset that you're going to temper yourself because you could easily have a runaway train on either one of the sites because they have so much great stuff
Yeah.
and beautiful stuff and collector sets and limited editions. I mean, insane. But they also have like the Amory case that's 17.99.
Right.
So you do have options. And they put, especially with Second Sight is a big one. They'll put up the nice limited edition box set, and right next to it, you'll see standard release. You can buy them, they're offered at the same time.
That's great.
You don't have to wait 6 months to save $40. You can just say, "It's not my favorite, but I want a 4K. I'm gonna order it." And so they do have that option. Diabolic does the same. And then, there's other sites like Kino Lorber.
Love them.
Love Kino Lorber, and one of the things I really love about Kino Lorber, and I know you're a fan of this as well, they are always having some kind of a sale.
Yeah.
I mean, and the prices are ridiculously low. I mean, you can get things for $5.
Yeah.
Really, really nice, great movies, and there's nothing wrong with them. They're brand new factory sealed. If it's a movie that you've been looking for, you want, make your list. And my recommendation to everybody is if there is a studio that you like Kino Lorber, Criterion, Vinegar Syndrome, any of these people, get on their mailing list
Yeah.
because they will email you. They will email, like if you go on deep discount, they'll email you coupons. Go on Criterion. They'll email you when they're going to have a sale. They'll let you know. They want you there.
Yeah. They do.
So, definitely get on all these, the email sites. And another one that I meant to ask you about if you've ever used is Hamilton Book.
I literally just wrote on my page, ask about Hamilton Book. Yeah.
Yeah. Hamilton Book, I think, is awesome. And I always say that to me, if I had to describe Hamilton Book, and John, correct me if I'm wrong, to me, Hamilton Book is like what Overstock used to be
Yeah.
for books and movies and things like that. And they have CDs, I think, right?
Yeah. They do.
Yeah. And they also have a flat shipping rate. Maybe it doesn't get there overnight, but I've never had an issue with their shipping being
No.
excessively long, couple days. It comes in a really cool package. It looks like a
Yeah.
boat. Everyone calls it the boat. I've never had an issue. I've had a couple times where things were damaged, but I think they were damaged before they went into the shipping
Mhm.
container, and they just sent me a brand new one.
Yeah.
They said, "Keep it, get rid of it, donate it, whatever. We'll send you a brand new one." So, I think Hamilton Book is sometimes an untapped resource in the
I
physical
agree.
media community, and I think more people need to take advantage of it because it's not all old titles. Like,
No.
you'll see things like people will be holding up Arrow Video stuff that they
Yeah.
just got sent for review. Next week, it'll be on Hamilton Book,
Yes, it will.
and it'll be significantly discounted.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same thing. Sometimes you even get it, like, with the slipcover, everything.
Yeah.
So I think Hamilton Book is a great resource.
They just got a bunch of their last drop. They released a bunch of Kino titles as well that you're
Yeah.
picking up for $5.49.
Yep. And that's another one because they do their drops once a month, right?
I
Yeah.
think yes, it's once a month.
It's
Yeah,
like the last Tuesday of the month or first Tuesday. I don't know what it is, but I'm on their mailing list, so get on their mailing list, and
absolutely.
you will get an email, and they'll say new titles have arrived.
Yes.
You click on there, they show you the new titles first, and then you can go through whatever it's usually like 14 pages of Blu-rays, and
Yeah.
you just look at what you want. I mean, there are some adult content ones at the the
Right.
end of the
Yeah.
but, they have everything, and I am a big fan of Hamilton Book.
Me too.
So
That
that's a
email comes when I'm at work and I
yeah,
literally stop my job and I just go there.
you go
I
to
scroll,
Hamilton
scroll,
Book.
scroll.
Yeah,
Because I don't want to miss out because I don't know how long those are going to be there for.
yeah.
So I will literally stop my job and scroll. Yeah.
And it really is a great way. Like I said, it's not just old stuff that people have
No.
forgotten about. There are brand new releases on there.
Yeah.
Maybe not brand new. Maybe that's from like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, but it's not like the release of the week.
Yeah.
And you'll get it and it's in pristine condition, brand new factory sealed, like never been touched.
Yeah.
So don't sleep on that. And deep discount is good. I haven't had any issues with deep discount. Deep discount and Groove, I don't order steelbooks from because the shipping is questionable and
Right.
just I can't go with it. But deep discount is very generous with coupons. They'll do like 15% off coupons. And I know Groove has some great, I
Hmm.
know you've done some of them, some great, like they'll do like with Memorial Day weekend coming up. They'll
Yes.
probably have something going on like 3 for 33 with 4Ks. So if you have a list of 4Ks or Blu-rays or whatever, box sets, anything that you've been holding off on, check out Groove because they have great deals on the week, especially holidays and weekends and things
Yep.
like that.
Absolutely.
They had like Mother's Day things and all that. But yeah, I mean, I would say that the big thing with the online shopping is going to reputable places
Hmm.
like these places that you can actually contact a real person if you have a problem. And just try to stay within your means. Don't go wild and just because you're really shopping. You're not just filling a cart and hitting checkout.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like to tell people all the time, if you want to give me something, give me a gift card
Yeah. It's true.
because I can always use a gift card. Gift cards are great. So if you know that like the Criterion sale is coming up at Barnes and Noble in July, that's my birthday month. I tell my family, send me gift cards
Yeah.
because, that's the times we're living in. Amazon, like you love your Amazon gift cards.
I
You'll always
absolutely
say, you're
love them.
like, "Oh, I love it. I had an Amazon gift card. Done.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
it."
I literally feel like a child at Christmas time with
Oh,
an
yeah.
Amazon gift card, and I just sit there with my phone, I fill my card up to 5 times as much as that Amazon card is worth, and
Yeah.
then I start, like, going, "Well, I don't need that right now. I probably won't ever watch that one," and bring it all down till it's within the card, you know?
Yeah.
But it's a ton of fun. I had a good
That's
time with
what I always call that my shoplifting cart. I'm like, I'm shoplifting and then I'm putting things back before I run
Yeah.
out of the store. So
You're running around
I'm
a
shop
store full of stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
shoplifting and then I'll just put it back.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, but I mean, we're living in a weird time when it comes to collecting and, we have to use tricks and tips and share with each other. And, I think, the main thing is to just stay focused on keeping things under control and try to put the fear of missing out aside
Yeah.
because as we're seeing now, like even these steel books that people go nuts over, they're all being reprinted.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Especially now that Best Buy closed down as their physical media department, they're all showing up. They're all limited editions. They're all showing up over at Walmart or somewhere. They'll be somewhere.
Well, I
So,
know that Sicario steelbook, people are spending crazy amounts of money on that on
yeah,
eBay, and
yeah,
they're sitting in a dump bin at Walmart now for $5 each.
yeah.
You're
So you
right.
just,
Like, don't have
yeah,
that fear of missing out. Just wait. It's going to show up. It'll
yeah,
be there. I mean, the only time that I would say you might lose out. And so for me, when really got serious about movie collecting,
yeah,
is when like Twilight Time went out,
yep,
and it's like there's like Audrey Hepburn films that I'm hoping like a Kino will pick up because Kino picked up a lot of Twilight Time titles. I hope there's that kind of thing. Twilight Time or Kino, one of the things I love about them is when they say what's the name of their that one section stuff that's going out?
Oh, Last Chance.
Last Chance. I love
Yeah.
that they do that, so you can know, like,
Yep.
okay, no one might pick this up for a
Yep.
while. So I recently picked up a few titles from there, and they're really cheap. And so I'm really thankful for them when they put that title up, so I know I can get stuff before I miss out on it. So it's helpful.
And if things are out of print, like, Sling Blade right now is out of print. I know, like, 28 what is it, 28 Days Later is out of
Yes.
print. But, I think Sony just acquired the rights to it. So,
Okay.
they're gonna be putting out a 4K,
Yeah.
and they're probably gonna put out a new Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So, my point being is that pretty much everything goes out of print at some point. All it means is that maybe somebody lost the rights to it, or somebody else bought the rights and they just don't know what they're going to do with it yet. And there are some things that just are never going to see the light of day again, like Dogma, things like that, for
Sure.
whatever reason. What About Bob is probably never going to get a Blu ray release, as Disney has it locked in a vault somewhere. But you never know. Things change
Right.
rights change hands all the time.
Yeah.
But try to just not fall victim to the scalping,
Yeah.
because no Blu-ray is worth hundreds of dollars. It's a
No.
movie,
Yeah.
and you'll kick yourself when it comes back into print, and it's an even nicer edition and less money. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, those are my big tips, and just, like, go with the places that are gonna give you the best customer service,
Yeah.
reliability, send you what you ordered, and that you're happy with, things that you get from them, and all the places we mentioned. I'll try and link as many of them as I can down in the description box so people know where to go. But John, I want to thank you because you have shared a wealth of
Well, thank
knowledge
you.
and some, insider secrets that you might get thrown to the wolves for sharing insider trading secrets.
Yeah, just look around. It's the stuff's out there. Have a good time with it. Kind of what you said. Don't worry about, don't get in trouble financially doing
Yep.
this.
Yep.
One of the things that was really humbling is when I picked up that VHS collection,
Yeah.
that was a someone who passed away. Like,
Yeah.
that's like, one of these days I'm not going to be here. And we joke about it sometimes. My whole
Yep.
collection might be in a yard sale someday or sitting at a Goodwill. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so just it was kind of a weird, humbling thing going into this home and pulling out all these boxes.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't know if she even saw them all. She might have even only seen half of those movies. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. So, yeah, it was just a good, humbling reminder.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're all going to be landfill one day. So, I mean,
Yeah,
like I always say to Kelly, I'm like, just don't let all the pickers and the flippers go through my
yeah,
wonderful collection that I love and adore,
yeah,
because I'll be rolling in my urn,
yeah,
because I don't want to know that my stuff is being flipped on eBay for 3 times what it's worth. So,
yeah,
because I wouldn't do it to people, so I don't want people doing with my
yeah.
stuff. But
I would
I
come
want
back to
some.
haunt that person.
Yeah, I want someone to get my collection who absolutely loves it because they love
Yeah,
film,
yeah,
and that's who I want. And it'll probably end up being my niece and her husband because they're nerds.
that's cool.
They're nerds like us. I don't know if they're as big a nerd as I am, but they're nerdy. But,
Yeah,
yeah, this was a lot of fun, and I hope it was helpful for people. I hope you guys maybe came away with some information, or maybe some websites or spots that you can check that maybe you didn't know, or maybe you've known about and you just maybe forgot. Hamilton Book is one that always slides off my radar until the email comes in. But,
yep,
like, keep checking them because they get stuff in all the time, and that's a hot spot.
yeah,
So, John, I'm going to put all of your info down in the description box. So, guys, go check out John, subscribe to him, and he will show you all his goodies that he finds on his travels.
yeah.
Always a pleasure to chat with you.
You too, Stephanie.
And
Always.
thank you so much for being here. And everyone, thank you so much for watching. And like I said, links to everything will be down in the description box. And I think that's going to do it for us today, John. So thank you again for being here with me. And for now, that's a wrap.